Hey folks, I'm Joe Wetzel, the owner of Inkwell Ideas, and we've got a new Kickstarter to make several new side quest and NPC cards. We've got 4 different themes. I'm just thumbing through the cards initially here just to give you a quick view. But these are our desert outpost themed side quests, and then we also have NPCs for the desert outpost, and I'll just thumb through these as well really quickly. Um, and then there's going to be 3 other themes. There is a castle theme where we've got all the people of a castle, both nobles and staff, as well as quests that are related to that for the matching side quest deck. And then likewise, there's a taverns deck where we've got a number of quests that start out in a tavern or centered on a tavern, happen in the tavern, as well as patrons and staff for that. And then finally, our last deck is a deck of mini layers, is what we're calling it. We're kind of riffing off of the concept that Role Playing Tips has put out there, where they say, they try to do a 5-room dungeon, although even they would say that's not necessarily 5 rooms and it's not necessarily a dungeon, but you're looking for different types of challenges and in a location. So it might be a wizard's tower or something. So we've got a deck of those quests, and they've been a lot of fun to write, particularly the little riddles and puzzles that we've put in most of those. As well as then the matching NPC deck for that is kind of your guardians of the layers, or even the most prominent character. And these two, the side quest deck and the NPC deck, there's one of each for each of the 4 themes, but if you just want side quests, there's nothing stopping you from having your own characters, creating your own characters, using your own characters, your own NPCs for your campaign setting, or the reverse. You can use the NPCs to fill out a town and kind of be more organic and see where it goes and have your own quest ideas. So you can use it any of those ways. But focusing on the side quest decks, we can use them in an improv way. You can kind of read just that introduction up at the top there, and read that for a few different cards, and then maybe read a little further of a likely candidate. So if the players are going off in an unplanned direction, you can grab a few cards and quickly pick one to kind of flesh out the rest of the evening's campaign, or game session, I should say. And then you can also, in planning, you can before you start playing, you can look at several cards and find one that you want to flesh out into a full adventure, or maybe 2 that you can find a relation between. And then finally, you can set up a whole campaign, and that's what we're going to talk about here, as to how to set up a hexcrawl in particular using the cards. So what I did was, if I flip windows here, if we switch over to the map window, so I fired up our program Worldographer to generate a quick campaign world, and then I zeroed in on this particular area and decided, okay, I want this desert outpost. So I want this village that's roughly in the middle of the map there. That's kind of the central spoke, or central hub of those spokes. And that's where the players are going to start the campaign. And then we've got another village up off to the side that I've labeled 0-1. And with Worldographer, I can toggle things as GM only. So if I were to share this with the players, I could toggle off that all those things that I don't want them to see, the 0-1 or the 20 that's on there as well. But I can then plan out where are some of these cards going to happen. And actually, I could put another label for one of the other cards that we'll talk about in a moment. But you don't have to use our Worldographer, of course. Any paper would work. Any other program will work. Whatever you'd like to use. But the idea is to just plan out your campaign a little bit and give them some options. This is kind of player driven. You're going to feed them. You're going to look at a few of these cards and set up some rumors and feed those rumors to them and see where they go. And the key part of a hex crawl to me then is what happens with the things that they don't pursue, which we'll talk about as we go through some of these. So as I had on the map, I had labeled card 1 as one of the nearby villages. And from this we can see in the introduction, an aristocrat has built an army. Now the matching NPC card for this isn't part of the sample. All these cards that I'm showing you are part of the sample. So it's not part of the sample, so I'm not going to show the matching NPC card here. you would have your own aristocrat, or of course, once we launch or once we release the product after the Kickstarter, then you would have the aristocrat card if you wanted to use that. We'll see some of the other NPC cards in more detail as we go about this a little bit further. But we've got an aristocrat. He's built an army. Now he needs the PC's help to start a war, so the town will hire them. He's built up this army for his own purposes, maybe prestige, maybe he's got some plans down the road, but they're not quite ready yet. Or maybe this was the original purpose, that he did want to take out this nearby village. That's what this is. This map here is this other village that was labeled on the map as 01. And it's a snake people village. Hey, good villains, snake people. So he wants the players to kind of start a false flag operation. So we can say we've got this aristocrat. He's offering a handsome reward or a religious artifact from the snake people. That's one way to get things started. Another way is the party's in desperate need of healing, and there's a sage there. And he tells about this religious idol that they might be able to get that will do some sort of special healing that they need. It could also be as simple as they talk to the armor, getting their armor repaired. The armor recognizes that they've got some combat under their belts and thinks that they might be a good candidate to work with the aristocrat. One of the armorer's friends, maybe, and the aristocrat put out the word that he needs some people that are capable and able to kind of plant this false flag, if you will. And so you can plant that rumor with or plant these ideas with the players, any of these rumors with the characters in town, and see if they bite on that one. Or we can look at another one. So here in this case we've got, so this is one where I would put, maybe number 13 off in the hills on the map. If I just toggle back to this briefly for a moment, any of those hills to the west of town, just past the obelisk, maybe could be where 13 is located. I don't necessarily have to put it on the map right away, but we'll go back to the card here. And so here we've got, there's a daft scholar that hired a guide and took him to a monster nest, and then he was caught, and he needs to be saved. So, there's an aristocrat that wants to hire, put it out in the town. Hey, my son's been captured by these monsters, and I posted a reward in the tavern. Or there's another option here where the guide, is like, hey, you got to help save this scholar before the father finds out he's missing. And so the guide maybe is in town, in the tavern, trying to strike up conversations with the PCs to get them interested in that. So that's another thing that could be happening. And then moving down to 18 here. So in this case, hey, there's a cavern that just left. And what happens, there's a sandstorm that's predicted by this weather person. And so in this case, we actually do have the matching character as part of the, this is the matching character for that card. So this is card 18 in the NPC deck, and that matches card 18 in the Desert Sidequest deck. So you can, if you want to use this character. Now, if you've got your own sage in town who might be predicting the weather, go ahead and use them. But if you don't have somebody like that, you can pull up this card and get personality and background and so forth for this particular character, and use them. And they're in town. Likewise. Maybe it's a tavern. Maybe they know where maybe the PCs have a house there, and they know of the PCs, and the PCs have already done one task, and so they go to the PC saying, "Hey, can you go and find that cavern and get them back as soon as possible before they might die and being exposed to the storm." And if the PCs don't pursue that, so like I said earlier in the video, if the PCs don't pursue one of these quests, then what happens? Do some other heroes go out and save them and get some prestige, or are these caravan drivers and guards and so forth, are they wiped out, or all but one comes back and is upset that that they weren't rescued, has a problem with the sage or the PCs for not pursuing? So you want your campaign to change based on what the characters, what the players decide to do. And so that would be, that's card 18 there. Then we've got card 20 here. Here's some Holy Knights that have been dispatched to kill a demon-touched artist named Emnadash, which is, again, card 20 would be that character in the NPC deck if you wish to use it. So he can't. The knights don't want him to free a demon that's been buried under a desert obelisk. So he's been influenced. He's been influenced somehow by this obelisk, by the demon under it, and he's trying to potentially wake it up. And so, what do the PCs want to do with that situation? How do they hear about it in town? So maybe they see the knights going over, traveling, and they're coming through town to the obelisk, or maybe they're getting visions from the demon, and the demon, wants them to take action as well. So you've got a lot of different ways to include the PCs and to give them these options. Those visions can happen over time. So again, you don't have to. Some of these cards will push for immediate action, and some of them can be a slow boil. And so this one is one that could definitely be a slow boil. And then there's a couple of other cards in the sample. I think that you get the idea, though. I don't want to go through too much detail, but we've got a couple more cards in the sample as well. There's 6 cards, 6 side quests, and 6 NPCs that we've got for each of the 4 different themes. So you've got essentially 48 sample cards. It's almost a full deck, really. So hopefully you get a good idea of what the project is all about. And, we've been working on these for months now. Our Sidequest decks are always very popular. We're happy to get them out to you. We get lots of great comments from folks. A lot of times at conventions, we were at Gen Con last month, people will buy 1 or 2 decks on day one, and then sure enough, later at the convention, they come back and they're buying 3, 4, 5, or occasionally the whole selection of 15 decks that we had. Now this is going to make 4 more Sidequest decks, and we also had 9 NPC decks. So we had 23 decks in all before, and now or 24 rather. And now we're going to be adding 8 more, so there'll be 32 decks in all. There's even a pledge level for that. We'll have a link to the Kickstarter below, of course, so you'll be able to back it. We could really use some more support. As of recording this, we're 62% of the way to our goal, and we're very happy with that, and looking to fund at least a little bit early and have an opportunity to add a couple of extra bonus cards through some stretch goals, which we'll be talking about in some of the updates and comments about what we might put on those extra cards. But I think that gives you a good idea of what the project is about and how to use these cards for your campaign. We get a lot of great comments, again, from people saying that they make good use out of these and find them to be some of the most valuable tools that they've got for their role-playing game sessions. So thanks a bunch, and look forward to your support.